Thank you, Dave. Don't quit your day job, though. I'm just kidding. That was Dave Meadows. God bless him for everything he does. He sets up the sound and everything for us at our events. Well, I'm not going to fill your heads with a lot of facts and figures because most everybody out here knows what the facts and figures are. We're broke. We've got 201 days. That's a figure. Until November 2nd, Election Day. What are we going to do on that day? What? Yeah, we're going to sweep them out, and it's long overdue. We're going to clean house. We're going to use our legitimate, God-given liberty, and we're going to vote these demagogues who are destroying this country out of our house. 10% of the people in this country pay 73% of the taxes. That's a problem. 47% pay no taxes, but they also get rebates and entitlements of other people's money. That's a problem. This is most likely the last chance we're going to have to put this nation back on the track of constitutional governance, fiscal responsibility, and moral relevance. Because after 2010, it's a long ways to 2012, and these people are really good at pulling all kinds of illegal tricks. So, we need to do is our primary goal should be to seek out those of our countrymen, and I thank all of you for being here because those are you, but also our elected officials and who would strive to be our elected officials. We need the same people who share our same ideals to hold us to our constitutional moorings and the rule of law and put them in Congress to do what Congress has failed to do, the will of the people who have elected them. So we don't have an administration in Washington, we have a regime, and we cannot let this stand. Thomas Jefferson said, in questions of power, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. Giving Congress a distinct and independent power to do any act they please may be good for the Union, would render all the enumerations of power completely useless. It would reduce the Constitution to a single phrase, that of instituting a Congress with power to do whatever good be for the good of the United States, and as sole judges of the good and the evil, it would also be a power to do whatever evil they please. We see that today. No such universal power was meant to be given them. The Constitution was intended to lace them up straightly within the enumerated powers. Alexander Hamilton wrote in Federalist number 1, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with the Federalist Papers, please search them out. They're on the internet, and they are an immense tool into the workings of our government and to what it should be. History will teach us that of those men who have overturned the liberties of republics, the greatest number have begun their career by paying an obsequious court to the people, commencing ideologues and ending tyrants. Does that sound familiar? So why are we here today? Millions of ordinary God-fearing Americans across this country in peaceable assembly to protest because Hamilton was right, Madison was right, Jefferson was right, they were all right. They gave us the means by which to overthrow the men who played an obsequious court to the people, commenced ideologues and ending tyrants. Vote them out. We have the rule of law and we have the power. Because I'm going to tell you, folks, if this is not tyranny, then we have never known freedom. Our glorious past has been all for naught, a mere mention in the volumes of history, an aberration set next to the usual spectacles of human want, misery, and tyranny. In August 1st of 1776, Samuel Adams stood before a huge assembly in the State House in Philadelphia. He said, "Courage then, my countrymen. Our contest is not only whether we ourselves shall be free, but whether there should be left to mankind an asylum on earth for civil and religious liberty. Dismissing therefore the justness of our cause as incontestable, the only question is, what is best for us to pursue in our current circumstances. Contemplate the mangled bodies of your countrymen and then say, what should be the reward of such servitude, of such sacrifices? If ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us now. We seek not your counsel nor your arms. Crouch down and lick the hand which feeds you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that ye were ever our countrymen. We have no other alternative than independence. Our union is now complete, our Constitution composed, established, and approved. You are now the guardians of your own liberty. Be yourselves, O Americans, the authors of those laws on which your happiness depends. Your adversaries are composed of wretches who laugh at the rights of humanity, who turn religion into derision, and would direct their swords at their leaders or their country. If I have a wish dear to my soul, it is that these American states may never cease to be free and independent. The great Roman orator Marcus Cicero wrote many, many years ago, "An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly. But the traitor moves amongst those within the gate freely, his sly whispers rustling through all the alleys, heard in the very government itself. A murderer is less to fear." Well, in the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, we had a huge infiltration of communist spies in the government, thanks to them, such as Harry Dexter White, Lachlan Curry, and the list goes on and on. We now have the United Nations. China was lost from Chiang Kai-shek to Mao Zedong, who then proceeded to murder millions of his people. Well, we don't have communist spies now like we did then. They're roaming freely in the hallowed halls of Congress. They're not hiding anymore. Many of them are elected officials. To paraphrase the great senator, the late great Senator Joe McCarthy, concerning the government, he said, if they were merely stupid, the laws of averages would dictate that they would be right once in a while when it comes to their country. So we've got a man in office that is doing his very best to take over every single institution in this country. This has got to stop. He said the other day that we can't let unfettered free markets continue as they have. What does he think built this great nation? Unfettered free markets. It was government intervention that began messing everything up and will continue. And his goal is not to help this country, by the way, as you all know. Vote him out! Vote him out! Vote him out, that is right. So today, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we carry the burden of liberty on our shoulders to carry it forward and enrich it, that is, has enriched us, our future generations, and the rest of the world. My question to you today, are you ready to shoulder this burden of liberty? You ready to carry it forward for your children and grandchildren? Amen. Let me close with the words of Samuel Adams one more time, because they moved me. What is best for us to pursue in our present circumstance? Contemplate the mangled bodies of our countrymen and then say, what should be the reward of such sacrifices? You are now the guardians of your own liberties. Be yourselves, O Americans, the authors of those laws on which your happiness depends. God bless America. God bless all of you. I'm going to hand this over to Margaret Williamson.